August 1945. World War II is coming to an end. Japan is surrendering, and the British Empire is watching the sun set. In the heat of this chaos, one of India's most important freedom fighters supposedly boards a Japanese bomber plane in Saigon, never to be seen again. This was Subhas Chandra Bose, better known as Netaji. For decades, his disappearance has been India's greatest mystery. Official reports say he died in a plane crash, but conflicting testimonies, government secrecy, and some very strange clues suggest otherwise. This story isn't just about death. It's about a legend which a nation couldn't let go of. Bose was born in Cuttack in 1897 into a prosperous Bengali family. He was brilliant, intense, and uncompromising. After nailing the Indian Civil Services exam in 1920, he shocked everyone by resigning before his post even began. He believed he was meant for something bigger, to fight for a free India. Bose rose quickly through the ranks of the Indian National Congress, which can largely be attributed to his passionate speeches.
Moreover, we have no right to ask for or expect help from any quarter until we ourselves have first of all done our very utmost.
But he butted heads with Gandhi, specifically over non-violence. Bose sought revolution. Gandhi did not. This ideological rift led to his resignation as Congress president in 1939, after which he formed the Forward Bloc, a left-wing nationalist political party. And then he did something few Indian leaders dared to. He turned to the enemy of his enemy.
The readiness of the Imperial Japanese government and nation to render us any assistance in our national struggle that we may need has naturally lightened our task to a considerable degree.
With support from Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, Bose raised the Indian National Army, a force of 40,000 Indian soldiers consisting of volunteers and Indian prisoners of war. They pledged allegiance not to Britain, but to an independent India. Bose believed that India could not win freedom through prayer alone. It had to be taken by force. And this is reflected in his iconic motto, "Give me blood, and I will give you freedom." On August 17, 1945, Bose left Saigon aboard a Japanese military aircraft. He was headed to Manchuria, possibly to seek refuge in the Soviet Union. According to the official story, the plane stopped to refuel at Taihoku, Taiwan. As it took off again, it crashed. Bose, severely burnt, was taken to the Nanmon Military Hospital. He reportedly died hours later. There was no funeral. His body was allegedly cremated. His ashes were sent to Tokyo. But here's where things get strange. The hospital records were sparse, and years later, Taiwan's own government claimed that no plane crash occurred on that day. 3 official investigations were held: the Shah Nawaz Committee in 1956, the Khosla Commission in 1970, and the Mukherjee Commission in 2005. The first 2 support the plane crash theory, but the third, led by Justice Manoj Mukherjee, flatly rejected it. Why would the Indian government uphold a story so full of holes? Why were so many intelligence files related to Netaji kept classified until 2015? Why have they chosen to keep tens of files classified still? Some believe the truth was too politically explosive, that Bose may have been alive, and his return would have challenged Nehru's authority in post-independence India. And there are 3 main theories about what really happened to Netaji. Let's break them down. The first is the official plane crash theory. According to this version, Bose died from third-degree burns after a crash in Taiwan. Japanese doctors and military officials testified that he was treated at the Nanmon hospital and that he succumbed to his injuries soon after. His aide, INA officer Habibur Rahman, claimed he witnessed the crash and Bose's subsequent death. The ashes preserved at the Renkoji Temple in Tokyo are believed to be his. This theory is supported by the Shah Nawaz Committee and the Khosla Commission. However, it suffers from a troubling lack of physical evidence. No photographs of the crash, and a categorical denial from Taiwan's government that any crash occurred there on that day. The second theory posits that Bose escaped to the Soviet Union. As Japan surrender drew near, Bose may have intended to reach Manchuria and enter Soviet-controlled territory to seek asylum or support. Some declassified Indian intelligence memos and writings by Anuj Thar suggest that Indian leaders, including Nehru, were aware of Bose's survival and may have corresponded with Soviet authorities. While this theory explains the disappearance, no Soviet records have directly confirmed Bose's presence. Some alleged KGB defectors' accounts hint at Soviet interests in Bose, but these remain speculative. The Mukherjee Commission requested access to Russian archives, but failed to receive full cooperation. The third and perhaps most controversial theory is the Gumnami Baba theory. This hypothesis claims that Bose lived incognito as a reclusive monk in Faizabad, Uttar Pradesh until his death in 1985. Known as Gumnami Baba, this man never showed his face publicly and left behind an array of objects including INA relics, Bengali books, and letters. A handwriting analysis conducted in 2015 found a high degree of consistency between Baba's letters and Bose's known writings. Justice Mukherjee visited the monk's residence and acknowledged the peculiarity of the belongings. DNA testing of remains, however, proved inconclusive. The theory's detractors argue that it leans too heavily on circumstantial evidence, but to its supporters, the physical and stylistic similarities are too strong to dismiss. In 1945, a letter allegedly written by Jawaharlal Nehru to British PM Clement Attlee referred to Bose as a war criminal and claimed he was in the Soviet Union. This letter was cited decades later by a stenographer before the Khosla Commission. However, it was riddled with spelling errors, lacked authentication, and has since been widely dismissed as a forgery. What is not disputed is that from 1948 to 1968, the Nehru government spied on Netaji's family. Declassified Intelligence Bureau files reveal that Bose's relatives, especially Amia and Sasir, had their letters intercepted, their movements tracked, and their foreign trips reported on. This lasted for over 20 years, long after Netaji was presumed dead. Even within the Bose family, the mystery has caused deep division. Krishna Bose, a respected parliamentarian, accepted the plane crash theory and rejected the idea that Netaji would ever live in hiding. Chandra Kumar Bose accepted the plane crash theory and pushed for deeper investigation into theories like Gumnami Baba. Sugata Bose, a historian and MP, remains cautious, seeking reconciliation between competing narratives. Initially leaning towards the plane crash theory, but has since been open to review the evidence and has supported obtaining DNA testing of his supposed ashes. Every country has its own storied figure, a Kennedy, a Guevara, a Netaji. But while his legacy is everywhere, from airports to statues to schools, his truth is nowhere. Successive governments have avoided a definitive conclusion. Could it be political risk, emotional weight, or maybe something was truly absurd within the truth? For a man who died fighting for independence, it's ironic that even in death, Subhas Chandra Bose has never truly been free.